Hey,
Get
what's up,
ready for New
everybody? It's your
Orleans.
girl, Dr.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I am personally inviting you to save the date for the 2026 Black History Month Literary Weekend. This February marks 10 years of celebrating literacy and our history, and we're taking it back to New Orleans, where it all began. Join us and meet these amazing authors: Michelle Knight, Royce Dixon, Chef Diana Riley, Lillian Joseph, Dr. Audrey Ann Moses, Dr. Emily Woodcock, Dr. LaTracy McDonald, Mark Beausejour, Eloja Hadley, Kevin Wayne Johnson, Tori Q. Jones, and Michelle Roney. February 19th through the 21st, we're taking over New Orleans for an unforgettable weekend of books, brilliance, and Black excellence. Stay tuned. Early bird tickets start December 1st. For more information, visit www.mtwimagesolutions.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, Dr. Rhonda M. Lawson, and I'm back with another episode of the Horizons Author Lounge. And there is so much going on with Meet the World Image Solutions. It's crazy how much we have going on right now. But I do want to make a special announcement that starting December 1st, I will not be taking any new clients until March 1st. So if you have been considering me for editing, for coaching, or and consulting, anything like that, now is the time to book me, because December 1st, I will be concentrating solely on the Black History Month Literary Weekend. We have a lot going on. I was just talking with some potential partners today. We're going to be, in fact, I'm not going to tell you everything. You already saw the author lineup, but we are going to be announcing the special guest lineup very soon. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a hint as to what's going on. So the event will take place February 19th through the 21st. And of course, we're going to have our meet and greet, which is always pretty fabulous. But Friday, and this is the first time you've heard this, Friday, we are going to be hosting the Greek comedy tour. And we're going to have some national super funny comedians who are going to just kick off the weekend right. And it's going to be great. It's going to be at the world famous Cafe Istanbul in New Orleans. If you're from New Orleans, then you know. If you're not from New Orleans, you're about to find out. We have a number of book signings happening, of course. We're going to do a free writer's workshop. And I am not going to tell you just yet who our special guest instructor will be, but you're just going to want to come just on the strength of him being there. So more to follow on that. And then Saturday, of course, it is the Ivory and Cream Affair, and that's going to be another fabulous event with a lot of really cool surprises. So New Orleans is just going to be everything. So if you were in New Orleans, you definitely want to be there. If you've been thinking about visiting New Orleans, that's the weekend to come. And if you just want to be a part of the Black History Month Literary Weekend, stay tuned, because there's some exciting things happening, and I want you to always be on top of it. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much for the kind words. I try to have the surprise personalities. I always want to keep everything special. If you know me, you know I have big thoughts, and I'm always trying to do things with excellence. So I really want to make sure that this is not only a special event for the people who come support it, but for the authors who invest in the event, who fly in for the event, who get hotels. I want to make sure that you leave with some books sold, a little money in your pocket, some amazing connections, and just a all-around great feeling. So if you want more information about the Black History Month Literary Weekend, visit my website at www.mtwimagesolutions.com/BHM 2026. This is our 10th year, and we bringing in our 10th year like never before. So you really, like I said, want to be a part of this. And like I said, there's a lot of other things happening that I haven't even talked about yet, but those surprises are coming. So just stay tuned. Now, if you've been following the show for a while, you may have heard me talking about the creators' rights movement. I really, really, really need you guys to take this seriously. So if you haven't heard about the creators' rights movement, what we are doing is we are advocating for a change in the laws that surround copyright. So right now, for those of you who hopefully are not doing the poor man's copyright, for those of you who are doing everything that you can to protect your work, you may not realize that even though you're paying the money and you're doing all of the things right, your copyright is only good for 75 years. After that 75 years, it's free reign. And so that means that your family can't benefit from your hard work. And that's whether you're an author, whether you're a musician, or whatever it is that you're copywriting. Once that copyright runs out, you don't have a legacy to leave to your family. So we are working on changing that law. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put into the chat the website for the Creator Rights Movement so you can learn more about it. And then I ask that you guys will sign the petition so we can update these outdated copyright laws. So the website is www.creatorsrightsmovement.com. And if you go to that website, it'll give you all of the information, and then you can click on another link so you can sign the petition. It does not cost money to sign the petition. Now, if you would like to donate to the movement, that is great, but really we need your support. So just go to the website, and I'll put it in the chat for you very quickly. Oh, Daniel's already on it. Just go to the website, and then learn about the movement. Click on the petition, sign the petition. Let's show our lawmakers that we mean business, that we really need our work, our hard work, to benefit our families. We want to pass on our legacy, our intellectual property, to our family members. But we can't do that without your support. So make sure you sign those. Now, next thing I want to announce is the school. For those of you who know that I've had the Right to Win Writers Community for quite a while. Well, I am moving it to an entirely new platform, and I'm putting even more value in it, and I'm making it affordable for everybody who needs the help. If you are looking for author support, if you are looking to improve your craft, if you are looking for ways to get more marketing and to expand your brand, this is the place to be. And you'll get all of this for only $10 a month. And if you pay in full, you get 2 months free. So instead of $120, you're only paying $100. But we are going to have live classes in there. You're going to be getting valuable resources. How many of you that Meet the World Image Solutions had an author resource center with worksheets and checklists and courses? Yes, we have all of that. But if you are a part of the Right to Win Writers community, you get all of that for free. So now this is a brand new platform for us, but like I said, it's packed with so much value, and I really want you guys to be a part of it. So we'll be putting that link into the chat, and I want you guys to go ahead and click on the link and join the community, and take advantage of all of the great things that we are offering for authors. As you know, I started off as an author. I still write, but I'm now an entrepreneur. I am now a coach, an editor. But the love that I have for authors has never gone away. So I want you guys to be a part of that. So I'm putting the link in the chat right now, and I want you guys to click on the link and join the Right to Win Writers community on the school platform. Very, very easy platform to navigate. And like I said, the materials that you're going to be getting, there's already a resource in there. that you can take advantage of right now. We are going to be posting an AI tool that I'm going to teach you how to use and that you can start using right now to expand your brand. So I don't want you to miss out on this. So make sure you click the link. It's right here. I know it's a very long link, but it's in the chat. So just click the link, join the community, and let's support each other. I want to be able to help you to grow as an author. I want you to grow your brand, and I want you to become a trusted name in the literary industry. And the way you do that is to show people that you're here. The days of sliding into people's DMs with your promo are over. That is not the way to advertise. And I know I used to feel a kind of way when I'm sitting there chilling on Facebook, and then all of a sudden my messenger pops up and it's somebody sending me their promo. They didn't even say hi. They just sent me the promo. And even if they had said, "Can you please buy my book?" I might have thought about it. But the fact that they just slid into my DMs and threw their promo at me and expected me to take action made me feel a kind of way. So those days are gone. What we want to do is create a community where we support each other, we help each other to grow, and then we continue to expand our brand and improve our craft. And that's what the Right to Win Writers community is all about. And like I said, I've made this so valuable and so accessible to the people who need it most. Only $10 a month. You cannot beat that. So, and I'm giving you a 7-day trial for free. So you can't beat that either. So go ahead, jump into the Right to Win Writers community. Look around, get comfortable, introduce yourself, and let's go ahead and start growing as a real community. Now, that is all I have right now. Probably going to make some more announcements later on, but I want to bring on my first guest. This lady is walking history. She's flipping history. So I'm gonna let her tell you about herself, but I'm gonna say that when I met this lady, I thought she was really cool. We were laughing and vibing. We met in Philadelphia, and we were just laughing and vibing. And then somebody else came up and said, "Oh, she's my favorite gymnast." I'm like, "Who?" And she's like, "This lady right here that you're talking to." I was like, "You didn't tell me you were a history maker." And I'm just laughing and talking, and I'm glad I wasn't rude, but couldn't be rude because she was so sweet. So I'm going to bring on my first guest, Miss Racine Smith Williams. Hello, how are you?
Hello, Dr. Rhonda. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So I was just telling everybody, I don't know if you could hear me backstage, that we were just laughing and talking, and I did not realize the jewel who was standing in front of me. So, so can you please tell the people who you are?
Who am I? Well, my name is Racine Smith Williams. I am from Prince George's County, Maryland. And
Woo, pretty girl, Connie.
yes, PG County. And also, Rhonda and I were up in Philly. Then we both realized we're both from Maryland and live in Maryland, or both live in Maryland currently.
Yes.
So I am from, like I said, Prince George's County, Maryland. I started gymnastics very, very late at the age of 13 because, most gymnasts start gymnastics when they're still in diapers, right? So
Right.
prior to me being a gymnast, I was a dancer. It was the summertime, and a friend of mine from the neighborhood said, "Racine, do you want to come to the gym with me?" And I was like, "Sure, okay." So I asked my parents if I could go, and I went for 1 week. This was in the summertime, a 1-week clinic. I fell in love with gymnastics. So I went back to my parents and I said, "Can I go a second week?" And they said, "Okay." Went back, was having the time of my life. Went back to my parents again and said, "Can I take gymnastics for the rest of the summer?" And they said, "Sure."
Oh,
So I was in the gym when I was 13 years old, and I was taking clinics. I was in it for about 6 weeks. And at the end of the summer, the coach came up to me and said, "Do you want to join the team? We'd like to invite you to be on the team."
well, you caught on pretty well then.
Uh, Apparently, I was just having fun. I was just having fun. That was the bottom line. And I said, okay, not really knowing what that meant. Uh,
Mhm.
so I went back home to my parents and I said, yeah, the coach asked me, he asked me to be on the team. And my mom looked at me and she said, Racine, you need to make a decision. You cannot do both. Because as a dancer, I was doing 6 disciplines. I was doing acrobatics, tap, ballet, Hawaiian,
Wow.
Tahitian. And she
Mm.
said, you absolutely cannot do both. There are not enough hours in the day. And I said, okay, I will go with gymnastics. The rest
Wow.
is history.
So you, even though dance was something that you had been doing, you were used to it, you were good at it, you really wanted gymnastics. What was it that made you fall in love with gymnastics?
As a young child, I've always been very active. Actually, that's the reason I started dance school. My father came home from work one day. He was about this is how my mother tells it, right? My father came home from work one day and he was about to sit down for dinner and my mother said, "Nope, you are not sitting down. We got to get this girl out of this house. She needs to
Mm.
go somewhere. She has too much energy. She's tearing up everything in the house. There's fingerprints all over the ceiling. Our kitchen chairs are broke. Everything is all over the place. She's upside down. No, no eating. Mm-mm." So that's how I entered into dance because they were like, she has too much energy. She won't stay on her feet. She's always upside down and flipping. So that's how I started into dance. Gymnastics, I don't know if it was the events, the vault, the bars, the beam, the floor, and just learning all these new skills. I just fell in love with it. It was like a playground to me.
Wow.
It was like a playground. So they started me out. They were going to start me out at class one, which is the class right below the elite level. The elite level is the Simone Biles level. But they
Oh.
did not start me there because they're like, let's put her down one more level because I'd never competed before. Knew nothing about gymnastics, knew nothing about the events, knew nothing. So I
Mm.
stayed at that level for 1 year. And after 1 year, I moved up to class one, which is like I said, the level below the elite level. I competed there for 2 more years. And in 1982, I was the first African American gymnast to win the Maryland State all around title at the age of 15.
That is, and you had only been doing gymnastics for 2 years by that point.
For that was the end of my third year.
Wow.
Right. That is a big wow. But you know what? I didn't realize the space that I was in. I mean, I knew when I went to gymnastics meets, for the most part, I was the only one. Um, yes, I won state championships. I was like, oh, great, that's fine. That now I've qualified for regionals. Like it was just going over my head. But like I said, I was just out there having fun. That's the bottom
Mm.
line. And then my junior year was the first year I qualified for the national championships. And I went to the nationals at the United States Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And I placed 18th all around and third on bars.
Oh.
At the end of my junior year, my coaches said, let's bump her up and see what happens at elite trials. So I did go to elite trials my senior year. And I graduated and I started getting recruited at the beginning of my senior year. And then when that started, that was a big surprise to myself and my family because I had no idea that there were gymnastics teams,
Mm.
none whatsoever. And so folks kept calling my house. Coaches were calling my house. They were calling me at my high school. I took on my recruiting trips and then I decided on the University of Nebraska, where I was the first African American female gymnast. I was on a full scholarship and I competed all 4 years.
First of all, it seems like this was almost natural, and maybe because of the dance background, but for you to have gone to that level in such a short time is that's nothing to just say in passing. That's amazing.
That's what I was told. And I'm serious. I'm not trying to be funny. I am very serious. And I don't even think I realized that until, I don't know, 10 or 15 years out of college.
Mm.
Because again,
So when you look back, you were like, wow, I did all of that.
yes. I mean, I probably didn't realize the space that I was in, especially being the first at Nebraska, honestly, until about, I'm going to say 15, 20 years ago. I just didn't get it.
Wow.
I remember coming back home during Christmas vacation, and I was a sophomore, and I was at Landover Mall. And an older African American man stopped me, and I had my leather jacket on, and he said, "I don't recognize the N in those colors. That's not Northwestern High School." And I said, "No, it's University of Nebraska." And the stories, the questions are the same all the time. Do you run track? No. Do you play basketball? No. Because also, I'm also almost 5'9".
Right. I was about to say you're pretty tall.
So to be African American, starting gymnastics at 13 and almost 5'9", almost 50 years ago, that was a little bit different. But we spoke for a while, and he said, "I'm really proud of you." And I
Oh.
didn't know him, and I walked away, and I said, "Oh, thank you." And I walked away thinking, for what? I didn't get it. I just didn't get it.
Mm-mm-mm. And what went through your mind when you finally got it?
Wow.
Mm.
I'm glad that I embraced every single moment at Nebraska. And people ask me all the time, did you like it out there? And my answer is always the same. If I had to do it all over again, I would do the exact same thing. It was some of the best years of my life.
Beautiful.
Great friends, um, great coaches, great teammates. As a matter of fact, next month, myself and 7 other teammates, 3 years behind me, we're all getting together in Fort Myers, Florida. So we are still very tight some 40 years later.
That's wonderful. And so back then, I know you said you didn't realize, I guess, all that you were doing at that time, but did you ever feel intimidated? Or going into these spaces where you're not seeing a whole lot of people who look like you, and you're having to compete, and some of them may have been doing it way longer than you've been doing it. Did any of an intimidation factor ever enter your mind?
Nope.
Wow.
It didn't. Like I've said, I was just having fun. I had no idea. And, for the most part, prior to state championships, when I was in club, I I pretty much won most of the meets that I was in,
Mhm.
but I didn't think anything of that. And as I qualified for states, and as I qualified for regionals, and then from regionals, you have to be in the top 6. I usually finished 7th or 8th, and then I would go to the Eastern Championships and finish first or second, and then I'd end up at nationals. I didn't feel intimidated at all. I came from a very loving and wonderful club team. And my
That's
club
wonderful.
coaches, yeah, I did. And my club coaches were married, and they were wonderful. So I never felt intimidated. I never felt out of place. Um, I knew that I was tall, but it was just, I just need you to make the body of the leotard for someone my size because I have a very long torso. But no, I never felt out of place.
That's amazing. And kudos to your coaches for creating that environment around you.
Yeah, it was a wonderful environment.
Now, you do have a book that you released last year called Upside Down is Right Side Up. Is
Yes.
that, are you, in that book, are you encouraging other young girls to pursue their dreams?
Yes, PJ, the main character, is an energetic, creative, and caring 9-year-old. And a little bit like me, she's flipping all over the place. Flip, 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 flip. And once her parents allow her to go into the gym, she falls in love with it. Wow, that sounds exactly what I just told you about 15 minutes ago, doesn't it? She falls in love with the gym, and her parents allow her to follow her passion. And so I think there is a message in the book that reminds us all to follow your passion And then also for the parents to allow the children to follow their passion, no matter what it is, because we all have gifts and talents, and we're not given all the same gifts and talents. And a child's gifts or talents may look different than what their parents would have imagined. My
Right.
parents would have never imagined me being, I never imagined, no one ever imagined me being a gymnast. Um, you know, I was a dancer for a long time. In the summertime, I was a swimmer. I was asked to be on the swim team, but I declined because I wanted to dance. I ran track and played volleyball in elementary school. So it almost seems like some way, shape, or form, I was going to be an athlete because I
Yeah.
was always asked to be on different teams. So, yes, I would say the book does encourage to follow your passion. And as parents are reading to their books, maybe to be like, hey, let me support my child in this passion, even if it's a sport or what. It doesn't even have to be a sport. It could be, I want to do fashion design. I want to
Right.
be a
I was about to say
whatever.
arts. I talk about it a lot where kids will say they want to pursue something in the arts, and many times they're discouraged
Yeah,
because their parents want them to get a real job, a job that's going to make them some money, and
exactly.
they never really pursue their dreams. They never really pursue their passions, and you never know what could become of them if they had been able to pursue their passions.
Exactly. Because when I started gymnastics, who knew that I would be recruited by many 10, 20, 30 D1 schools to be on a full athletic scholarship. So my parents didn't put me in gymnastics to say, oh, I hope we get a scholarship, because like I said earlier, we didn't know that there were gymnastics teams, but they let me pursue my passion, and that was the outcome.
Beautiful. Now, are you still involved with gymnastics today?
Since I published my book, I have been doing a lot of vending at gymnastics meets, and I am happy to say I am now a rated women's artistic gymnastics judge. Thank you. So this coming up season will be my very first year judging. I'll start out with practicing. So yes, so
Oh,
I'm still in the I'm in the sport that way. Also, another judge who judged me almost 50 years ago and is still judging said to me, Racine, I think you need to speak at the USA Gymnastics Regional Conference. And
wow.
right. And in the United States, it's split up into 8 regions. In this region, it includes Maryland, Virginia, West Virginia, New Jersey, Delaware, and Pennsylvania. And you have to apply to be a presenter, and they have to accept you and invite you. And the judge who judged me said, Racine, I think you and your book would be a great way for you to get in. And as soon as she said that, because she had read my book, I said, she wants me to talk about the racism, microaggression, and unconscious bias that is happening in the gymnastics community.
Mm.
She said, you have to get this in. You have 24 hours. I was like, seriously? Really? And so I went online and they were like, what is the name of your topic? And I said, accepting differences. And they said, give us your background and that I could do. And they said, what are you going to speak on? And I'm sitting here just fussing at the computer thinking, I don't know. She just told me this 30 minutes ago and I have 24 hours to turn this in. So I just started typing. There are many Black and brown gymnasts entering to the gymnastics world. And I think there needs to be what could be an uncomfortable conversation about the racism, the microaggression, and the unconscious bias that's going on in the gymnastics community. I would like to present some real life situations and would like to have a very open and honest discussion about how we can have a more supportive and inclusive environment for our Black and brown gymnasts and their families. And don't you know they chose me?
Mm.
They did. There were 137 presenters, and I was the only African American presenter.
That is amazing.
Right.
And
So,
some people would feel discouraged by saying, they chose the one Black person to talk about microaggressions and race, but it's a conversation that needs to be had because when you came into gymnastics, there was no Gabby, there was no Simone. There was you.
Well, I think there were maybe across the country. I could probably name every black gymnast across the entire country. Yeah.
And so, but now that there are more girls of color who are getting into gymnastics because of what they're seeing. They're looking at the Olympics and they're seeing girls of color, not just African American girls, but just girls of color, period, on
Correct.
on the gymnastics team, performing at the highest levels.
Hmm.
But you didn't see that when you came in, so I can see why they would want you to talk about that.
Right. And it was very well received. Um,
Wonderful.
it was, 1 hour workshop. And I left probably about 20, 25 minutes for a conversation. And usually it would be 10 to 15, but I figure this, this conversation may turn different directions. And I have to say, if they would have given us another hour, it was
You
such a
still would have
robust,
been talking.
they still would have been talking. They still would have been talking. So it was very good. The other thing that I noticed was even though we have more black and brown gymnasts competing, the fact that I went to this regional conference, and this was my first time at regionals because now, I'm on the other side. I'm used to being the athlete, but to see that I was the only presenter, and there could have been others, but maybe they chose not to go to regionals, then maybe they went to nationals and different things of
Mhm.
that nature. But even those who attended, my understanding was that there were about 600 in attendance, and I saw maybe 17 African Americans. Now,
Wow.
maybe I missed some, so let's say 25. So it told me even though there are more of us competing, we're still missing in other spaces, such as there's probably more coaching, but club ownership and judging and presenting and attending regional and national conferences.
Mm. So when you see all of that, what, and just looking at the evolution
Mhm.
of gymnastics over the years, what still enters your mind when you see these things, when you see these statistics?
I guess I'm not overly surprised, but one thing that I guess from all the vending at the book events, I'm talking to more, black and brown parents and their gymnasts, and they are very excited that there is a children's book out there that looks like them.
Mm.
I didn't know that it was lacking so much. I happened to be at Barnes and Noble in Prince George's County, and I went there just to kind of check out children's books. And I said, "Do you have a children's book about an African American gymnast?" They had zero. They have
Wow.
books about Gabby, books about Simone. They had children's book, but they did not look like us. So the parents have been very, 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 very appreciative of their athletes being able to read a book that looks like them. There was one family, the father thanked me, and when I say this, I'm not exaggerating. I'm getting goosebumps. He thanked me profusely. You would have thought that I told him I was gonna pay the rest of his mortgage off.
Mm.
I'm not kidding you. He thanked me, and I mean, I just had to stop in my tracks. He was so, so thankful. And then something else that another parent shared with me, she said, "My daughter," and her daughter was about 8 or 9, said she came up to her mom and said, "I don't see how come there are no blue people who look like me?" And I said,
Hmm.
"Blue people?" And I thought about the movie Avatar. It's like, blue people. You know who she was talking about?
Who?
The judges. Judges,
Oh.
we wear navy blue.
Huh.
And I said, and I would have never thought about that. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because I wouldn't have thought that it would have existed because it wasn't my world. I didn't see any black people, so it just never dawned on me. I've never had a black judge. So I'm excited to get out there and judge. So and the book, um, it has brought a lot of families joy, I think.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Now, I know you talked about the judging that
Mhm.
you're going to be able to do, and you're also doing speaking engagements. Is there anything else that you would like to achieve? What, now that you've built this platform for yourself?
Is that what I did?
You've built a platform.
I'm telling you, I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and I just end up in these spaces that I would have never thought of. Um, I think at this point in time, I'm concentrating on learning how to judge because it is a very different world. Being an athlete, passing the test, and judging are three different things.
Mm.
So I'm really trying to work on that. And it is, I have to admit, it's very difficult. It is so much to learn. I've had other judges tell me, judges who have their PhDs and MDs, they said they've never had to study like this before. It is
So
a
it's a totally different experience than
oh,
just, you can't go in there saying, well, I did this before. I was an athlete, so I can judge. There are more things that you probably didn't think of.
oh, you have no idea. And now I look back at some of my routines, I'm like, oh, that's a deep dive. Oh,
Mm.
yeah, it's very interesting. So that, and then doing my workshops. I am very proud of my workshops. They were created out of my book. And what happened, different organizations were contacting me and saying, Racine, could you come read your book to our kids? And I said, sure. And I thought to myself, um, I think I should do something else. I'm not having a conversation with the person, but I'm thinking, I can't just go there and read a book for 5 minutes and the end. Thank you. Bye. Good luck. So I started adding different things. So PJ, the main character in the book, she wants to be like her mom, an entrepreneur. And so she starts designing leotards. So part of one of my workshops, Love the Skin You're In, I have the kids design leotards. And then they have to get up and present their leotards. So what are we talking about?
Oh,
Public
look at you
speaking.
teaching entrepreneurship.
So the kids they have to present their leotards, tell me why they pick certain colors, and just from A to Z. Then we talk about the benefits of reading because I wrote a book, and we talk about the benefits of physical activity because PJ
Mhm.
is an athlete. Because we should be lifelong readers and we should be active during our entire life because it benefits us, right? And then the last thing I get into is self-affirmation. So I've made these little self-affirmation pens, and if the kids know each other, I have them pair up and pick affirmation pens for each other, and then more public speaking to talk about why did you pick this word, whether it be leader, friendship, funny, responsible, why'd you pick this word for this person? So that's my workshop created from my book, I would say for ages 5 to 10. And then for my middle schoolers and high schoolers, I do a vision board workshop to hone in on, their goals.
Right. Because when you write it down, you make it plain.
That write the vision, make it plain. Yes. So I would have them, of course, make a vision board, but then I take it one step further. And again, more public speaking. I have the kids get up and I want them to talk about, okay, this is my goal. But then I also want them to write down and then speak. How are we going to get to that goal?
Yes.
As they're presenting it, okay, here's the goal. How are we going to get to it? And then they can get feedback from the other children. Because I don't want them to just go home with a board with goals, but okay, how am I going to get there?
Right. Right.
We have to connect the dots. So I want objectives under these goals.
Yeah, so now they're being intentional.
Exactly.
Love this. Love this. Love this. So I just want to thank you because you could have just been happy with your accomplishments and then gone into the sunset, but you chose not to do that.
I am of service innately. I'm a service person. My degrees are in human services. I've been in human services for over 30 years. I do service through the sorority, and the different places and spaces that this book has taken me, it has brought me joy. I now realize a year later that through this book, I am here. This is what I've gathered over this past year and what I've experienced. I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be, and I am to be here for all athletes and all children, but mainly our Black and brown gymnasts and their families, or any athletes, and especially athletes that are in predominantly white sports. I am
Yeah.
here for them in whatever capacity they need me, whether that be a mentor, a sounding block, or just someone to make them feel that they are being seen. So
Right.
whatever the children and the families need me for, I'm here for it for them. That's the conclusion I've come to after this first year of my book journey.
That's beautiful. And I've got to point out, you mentioned that you're in a sorority. And the reason why I'm mentioning, not that we're in the same sorority, because we're not, even though I'm wearing yellow.
And I'm wearing green.
But the fact is that you were able to still, with everything that you were doing, you were still able to have a college experience. So it wasn't all work for you.
I was, and I see the people over here in the chat. My dean of pledge is actually on. She's from
Oh,
Omaha, Nebraska, but she lives in Des Moines, Iowa. I see her name on there. Hi, Kathy. I love
oh.
you. But yes, and she just wrote awesome. So I love Kathy. I love Kathy. But yes, I was, and I was able to do that. So gymnastics is pretty much at the college level a year-round sport. You start practice on day one of school, and national championships are the middle of April. So you are working out all year round. You compete from January to April. Luckily, I was able to join the sorority in the fall because had it been in spring, I couldn't do it. So I was able to do it in the fall. And so yes, I told you it was some of the best years of my life.
Love it.
Athletically, socially, everything.
And are you still having fun? Because you built this platform and they got you working now.
Yeah, I am very, very busy. People actually ask me, Racine, do you have a full-time job? I'm like, yes, I do still work full-time. They said, because you are everywhere. I'm like, people call, people ask. I say, yes, I go.
There you go. There you
That's
go.
it's for the children. I mean, it's been amazing.
Well, once again, congratulations on all that you've accomplished. Thank you
Thank
for taking
you.
time to talk with me tonight. And I just really enjoyed our conversation. And I just hope that everybody who was watching tonight realizes the piece of history that they were able to witness tonight. So thank you very much for sharing your story.
Can I say one more thing?
Of course.
For those who want, my book is available on Amazon.
Yay! And I was going to ask you that anyway, so you just
Oh,
read my mind.
okay.
And we do have your link in the chat, and it's on the screen right now. So, who is this book for? What's the age range of the book?
The age range is from 4 to 10. Let's say 4 to 10. Yes.
And that's a pretty good age where they're still learning and they're still navigating. So I think that works.
Exactly. And people keep asking me, PJ needs to grow up. Hint, hint, hint. I'm like, really? Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, is there another book on the horizon?
PJ and I are talking about it. I know I talk about PJ like she's a real person. I do. She's real to me. Yes, PJ and I are talking about it.
Okay. Well, I think PJ is going to convince you.
Okay. And if we do, you will be the first to know.
Yay! Well, thanks again, Racine. Like I said, I totally enjoyed this conversation, and I wish you all the best, and may God continue to bless everything that you touch.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. You have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Yeah, that was Racine Smith Williams. And like I said, she is a history maker, a trailblazer in the field of gymnastics. So please make sure that you go out and support her book. because there are some young black and brown girls who need to read this story. The name of the book is Upside Down is Right Side Up. So I told you I had a couple more announcements. If you are a fiction author and you have not registered for the Culture Book Awards, then what's going on? The For the Culture Book Awards. This is the second year. As you can see, that big old $10,000 on there. There are prize packages. The first prize winner gets $1,000 cash and a huge promotion platform. The second prize winner gets not as big a promotion platform, but they get a promotion platform and they win $500. And then the third prize winner wins $250. So the early bird registration has ended, but you can still register to be a part of the contest. There's the link right here with more information. And the registration will go on until November 1st. So you still have some time. If you haven't finished your book yet and you want to be a part of the contest, you have time to get your book finished as long as you get it finished before November 1st, because we're not holding for y'all. But November 1st is the submission period ends. We already have submissions that have rolled in. So we're really looking forward to another great contest. Last year, our first prize winner was Malika Stevely. And if you're not familiar with her book, you need to go out and get it because it's a very beautiful historical fiction novel and blew the judges away. Second prize went to another author named Corey Davis. And his book was more of a fantasy fiction book with multicultural characters in it. And then we had our third prize, Mark Beausejour, who is a very huge supporter of the show as well as Meet the World Image Solutions. And he'll also be one of the featured authors for the Black History Month Literary Weekend. He won the third prize. And he writes urban fiction. So I don't want you to think that we're only looking for one type of fiction. If you have written a well-written story with a strong storyline that upholds African American culture, then we want to read your book. So please click on the link, mtwimagesolutions.com/contest-2025, and get into this contest because yes, fee, but there's so much more you're going to get in return. So we want to see you there. Also, don't forget my new book, Surprise Swipe Right, is coming out October 28th. And I'm having such a good time with this book. Oh my goodness, you are going to love this book. And it's all about a 70-year-old lady. I know she looks a little youthful here because, in my world, you don't have to be all hunched over and everything. You can still be a beautiful, youthful looking woman, no matter how old you are. But her daughter decides to sneak and put her on a dating app. And so all of the fun experiences that go along with navigating the dating world as a later dater, or as a senior citizen, whatever you want to call it. This is it's a fun story. So I think you're going to enjoy it. So I hope that you guys will get the book. Pre-orders will start in October, and I want to see you guys get the book. Let's make it a bestseller before the book even drops. That's the way we do here at Meet the World Image Solutions. Now, lastly, don't forget about the Black History Month Literary Weekend 2026. I really want to see you there. And I just want to remind you one last time about the Creators' Rights Movement. Like I said, our copyrights are under attack. Outdated copyright laws are affecting how we can take our legacy and pass it on to our loved ones. So it is very important that you sign this petition. The petition is already in the comments, but we'll put it on the screen one more time. No, that's not the link. This is the link. There we go. Uh-oh. It disappeared. It'll be right back. There it is. The Creators' Rights Movement. Go to the website, learn all about copyright laws and how we're trying to have these copyright laws updated to perpetual copyright, which means that my work will always be my work. Even 75 years later, it will still be my work. I can pass on my legacy to my children and they can benefit from my hard work. This is what you're looking for. So go to the creatorsrightsmovement.com website, take a look, learn more about the movement, and then sign the petition so we can present this and we can lobby to have these outdated copyright laws changed. So that's all I have for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of the show tonight. I just want to give another huge shout out to Racine Smith Williams for sharing her amazing story. Go out and get her book. And if you forgot the name of it, it is called Upside Down is Right Side Up. So that's all I have for tonight, guys. I hope to see you tomorrow on Black Authors Matter TV. And then I will be right back here next week interviewing some more amazing authors. And then in October, we're going to jump right into talking with some of the authors who are going to be a part of the National Black Book Festival in Houston. So we have some big weeks coming up, and I hope you guys are there. And lastly, thank you so very much for helping me to get over 1,000 subscribers for the Horizons Author Lounge. I'm so excited. We have over 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, and now we're moving toward 2,000. I think we can do it. But thank you all for your support. God bless you. I love you. I want to keep making this show grow and grow and grow so I can be more of a support to all of you and keep bringing you the best in literary entertainment. All right, that's all I have for tonight, guys. You have a beautiful week. May God continue to bless everything that you touch. And I will see you tomorrow and then right back here next week. Bye.